Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyra Gardner. I'm here this evening with Swagger Magazine on our show What's Going On. And so this evening I have the luxury of interviewing Dr. Ericka L. McKnight. She is a nationally acclaimed CEO, real estate extraordinaire, wealth professor, best-selling author, Presidential Lifetime Achievement and United States Medal awardee, Entrepreneur Hall of Fame, and multi award winning best selling author. Dr. McKnight is the first African American woman to own a real estate school in the Southeastern region. Dr. McKnight was recently inducted into the Who's Who in Black Charlotte and God's Made Millionaire Club. She still holds the highest new home sales, seven-figure value in the state of North and South Carolina, and has written numerous real estate courses and has taught for many colleges. Dr. McKnight has a dual doctorate degree in education and entrepreneurial leadership. She is the founder, CEO of Elm School of Real Estate and Elm Realty Firm. With over 22 years in the real estate industry, her knowledge, expertise, and resources has connected others to generational wealth as a global pioneer. She has successfully ushered more than 6,500 families into home ownership, helped to create over 4,500 in real estate investors and others to obtain their real estate license. Everybody take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Ericka L. McKnight. Good evening.
Evening world. Good evening world, because this is worldwide, isn't it?
Yes, girl, it is worldwide. We are all over the place. How are you this evening, Dr. McKnight?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tyra, for doing this interview. This is amazing. Great introduction. It brings me to tears. So don't judge me. If anyone sees that my eyes are a little watery and a little red, it's because I'm just so emotional. Every time I hear people read off my bio, and that's a brief bio. It's just like, wow, I just can't believe, that I've done all that because I'm just doing and just being me. And it just takes me to a whole nother level of enthusiasm. So I thank you so much. And I thank Swag Her for having me this evening.
Yes, it is so you have accomplished so much. So I'm looking forward to this interview. So first, can you share with us your journey into the real estate industry and what motivated you to establish the Elm School of Real Estate?
Yes, absolutely. So my journey actually started way back. And I wouldn't say way back because I'm not that old, but I just feel like, wow, at my age, it's so, and you feel like you're old because you've accomplished so much, but it's just the wisdom of it all. But I started back in college. I bought some properties that were $500 a piece. I solicited my family and said, listen, I need some money, because if anybody knows when you're undergrad in college, you're like, oh, I need some money. I don't have any money.
Right.
You're so busy trying to get your grades and do what you think is right for you and your success. And so that's where it started. 18 years old. I just bought my first property, and then I bought another property because I had raised so much money from family and friends. And from there, it just took off. So then after I had a family and children, beautiful children and different things like that, I went ahead and said, okay, now let me get my real estate license. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and then I relocated to Maryland, and then I came to North Carolina area. And so with that being said, that's how I end up getting my real estate license, because at the time, my realtor in Maryland, she was just like, you need to get your real estate license. You're so good at this. And I was just like, no, I like being home with my kids,
Right.
And so I was, that at the time, that was me and my ex-husband, and we were just so raising children, and we had grew up together. I got married very young. And so I just was enjoying my family, and I was just like, wow. And I just was enjoying being an investor, just a young investor. And so then she said, well, I'll pay for it. And he said, he'll pay for it. So I said, okay, if you're going to pay for it, then I will do it, And, who's going to say no? If you're going to put out the money, then that's what we're going to do. And so that's what ended up happening. And in the midst of all of that, we were purchasing a home in the North Carolina area. And we had an unfortunate experience with our buyer's agent. And
Okay.
so I said, oh my gosh, this can't happen to anyone else. I was just like, this is terrible. And so I had no idea he was being unscrupulous. He was doing
Mhm.
anything wrong. I just knew I obeyed my intuition. And my
Right.
intuition was like, something is not right. He's taking advantage of us. And we were a very
Mhm.
young couple with three beautiful babies under the age of 5. Let
Oh,
me
wow.
repeat, under the age of 5, 2 boys and 1 girl. And so
Wow.
we were just like, wait a minute, we feel like we're being used because we had sold our home. And so we had access to money. And
Mhm.
so, and back then in North Carolina, you could pay for your house. You
Mhm.
didn't need a mortgage because it was so inexpensive.
Right.
But needless to say, he did what he did. And as a result, after we closed on the home, I went to the real estate commission and I said,
Mhm.
well, wait a minute. I was just like, let me just share with you what happened to me and my family and
Mhm.
let me know if this agent did anything wrong. And so, with that being said, he did do some things that were unscrupulous. And so they rectified the situation. And that led me into saying, and them paying, saying, you need to get your real estate license. And so, once I did that 22 years ago, my whole life evolved and it changed into just not only giving back, but being this pioneer to say, we, meaning we need to
Mhm.
own real estate. We need to be wealthy. Everybody needs to own real estate. Everybody needs to be wealthy. And it doesn't take much for you to do that. And so
Right.
I just been on this journey and leading up to selling homes and
Mhm.
just being who I am, just loving on people and just wanting the best for other people and sowing the right seeds.
Mhm.
Later came the opportunity. People said, well, you need to write about this new construction thing. You need to write about real estate. You're
Right.
so phenomenal at it. And so why don't you teach it? And I was just like, teach it? Because I was doing so well in what I was doing, buying and
Right.
selling, investing, doing all kinds of stuff. So then the next thing you know, I said, oh, okay. So I began to write courses. And
Okay.
then colleges begin to say, listen, okay, we need you to come and teach our graduate students, or we need you to come and
Mm.
teach undergrad students.
Right.
So the doors began to open so wide and the
Mhm.
awards began to come. And so this is how I established the school, because I said, you know what? They see it, I feel it, and I know it's me, and I'm in my element. So now it's time for me to open up a school. So what we do
Mhm.
is we help people either obtain their real estate license, or
Mhm.
they come to us for their continuing education in multiple states. We're actually international as well. So if
Okay.
you need a license, this is what we do. And we help other entrepreneurs and even current real estate agents or those aspiring to be a real estate agents. We help them with their goals. We help them with their business blueprints, I call them, versus
Mhm.
a business plan. And we help them do that. And it's a team of us that work together. I'm the face of everything. I'm the foundation, okay? But there's so many more moving parts beyond me that make me great. So people see me, but it's so much more behind me that is making this thing operate, because I could not do this on my own. So
Right.
that is my story in a nutshell. I didn't come from wealth, but I did come from health. So let me explain that, because there's a
Mhm.
difference.
All
Okay.
right.
Ah, let me go there. Okay. I came from the health side of it. And what I mean by health, my family, my parents put in me that whatever you want to be, Ericka, you could be just that. And
Mhm.
let's teach you the healthy way of doing that. That's the mental health. That's the
Mhm.
endurance. That's the perseverance. That's the tenacity. Things that money cannot pay. That's
Right.
your assertiveness. All of those things. And then that led me to the wealth. Okay. Because I didn't
Mhm.
come from a wealthy family, but the principles and the foundation was there that later I now see has made me even more successful.
That is awesome. And I love that you talked about the mental health, and making sure that everything, cuz believe it or not, I'm a psychotherapist. So I'm all
Right.
about bringing mental health and business and everything, but I also have another little secret. I used to do real estate over 25 years ago.
Well, where do you live? Where do you live at?
I'm in Pennsylvania. I got out of it though real quick.
We need to get you back. Mm-mm. Ain't no getting out. Mm-mm.
Girl, let me tell you, I got out of that, Dr. McKnight. I was like, oh no. I was like, let me go back to therapy.
Well, we need you where we at, okay? And that's the segue into when you said best-selling author or whichever. I've
Yes.
written books on mental health because in the doctorate field, that's what you
Mhm.
talk about. The
Yes.
psychotherapy, the psychiatrist, all of those things. And so I've
Yes.
written books on mental health. And then we have initiatives as real
Mhm.
estate agents because our mental health is often challenged
All the
in what we
time.
say
Mhm.
all the time because we have the spectrum where we have those that are very successful. Is it too much success?
Mhm.
How do I obtain so quickly so much success? And then we have the ones that are at the lower spectrum that say I'm just not doing great at all.
Right.
Okay, and I feel as though
Mhm.
that I'm not fit for it. And then you have the ones that are in the middle. So I've written several books on just entrepreneurship and just the leadership side of it. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you mentioned that because a lot of people do get out of it. But what you need to understand is that you can always come back. You're always welcome back on the
Yes,
real estate side because it's another source of income.
it
We
is.
believe we believe in multiple streams of income. So you need to have that even if you don't do it full
Mhm.
time. Okay, you
Yep.
just sell
Yes.
it to friends and family. It's
Yeah.
another source of
But
income.
you know what? The one thing I do know about real estate, right? There is so many layers to it in regards to the different professions and things that you can do. A lot of people don't even realize, you don't actually have to be on that, be on the seller's end. You can be in the office doing other things, because it's so many things. You could be an appraiser. It's like so many levels. People don't realize that. Can you touch on that?
Absolutely. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because real estate is, I call it an umbrella.
Hmm.
Okay. And using me as an example. Okay.
Hmm.
I start out selling,
Yeah.
meaning on the buyer side and the seller side. It
Right.
later took me into the educational side. It
Mhm,
later took me to becoming an investor. And
mhm,
then with real estate, you can sell whatever. We can sell land, we can sell
mhm,
commercial, new construction. Okay. You can
mhm,
do just closures, you can just do HUDs, you can just do bank properties, you can wholesale. There's so many different ways and
mhm.
facets. I often mentor current licensees, the current
Okay.
people who have or people who are aspiring to get their license. I tell
Mhm,
them all the time, after you've been in this for a while, you'll figure out what vehicle works for you. You'll
mhm.
realize, okay, I just want to sell commercial or I
Right.
just want to sell land. Then you can be a real estate consultant. Okay.
Mhm,
That's a whole nother section where you can just consult other
mhm,
agents and be a trainer, a coach, a
mhm.
mentor, different things like that. Okay. And so
Okay.
it's so open. And like you said, you
Mhm,
can just be on the appraisal side of it.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the gateway that allows us as the real estate agent to be able to
Mhm.
close the property.
Right.
Without the appraiser, we can't close. So that's
Mhm.
how important an appraiser is. And you could be on the mortgage side as a lender, an underwriter. You could be a transaction coordinator.
Mhm.
You could be an attorney.
Yeah.
Of course, law license, real estate
Mhm.
law. But you can be an attorney strictly just doing the closings for real estate. You could be a
Yes.
title company because in North Carolina, we need title companies to
Okay.
close on properties. A lot of
Mhm.
states are built that way. So
Right.
again, it's wide open, but the key
Mhm.
thing start where you are, which is obtaining your license. So therefore, once you get
Mhm.
it, you never have to go back and get it again because the class is very difficult in multiple states, but you keep it
Yes.
active. So when you need to use it, you need to use it.
Okay. Yeah, and that sounds awesome. So does with real estate, do they have the pack? I know a lot of different professions now have a pack where you can actually practice in different multi states. Do they have that now with real estate as well?
Okay, so I think you're talking about reciprocity, where you can
Well, what the
you
reciprocity is, it's similar to it. Well, in therapy and in cosmetology is reciprocity, but it's also some kind of a pact where you have your license in one state, but you can operate in others.
well, here when I say here, I'm
Hmm.
talking about North Carolina that has reciprocity with other states, meaning
Okay.
that you have your license in North Carolina, you can
Hmm.
apply to have your license in other state as a
Okay.
reciprocal,
Okay.
which Depending on the state, though, it
Hmm.
just varies per state where you can have
Hmm.
that reciprocal license. You have to apply for it. Your
Okay.
experience has to be there to be able to match whatever their requirements are. But the
Hmm.
answer to your question is yes. It just varies per state.
Okay, awesome. Y'all,
Mhm.
everybody out there, y'all hear this now. Y'all getting it firsthand information about real estate. Now, my next question for you is, what do you see the most significant challenges facing individuals entering the real estate industry today? And how does Elm School of Real Estate address these challenges?
Well, there's a lot of variables. That's a loaded question. So it would just depend on it could be many things. Some
Okay.
people feel as though they may not have the money to take the class.
Okay.
Okay. And if
Hmm.
that is you, then I know with my school, we often have scholarships to
Okay.
where we have sponsors who will sponsor you to go to
Hmm.
our school to be able to obtain your real estate license. Of course, there's more application process, there's more in depth in order to apply for that scholarship. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's financially why people don't get their real estate license. Okay.
Hmm.
The other thing may be once you get your license and you pass the schools class and then
Hmm.
you pass the state and the national test, because there's layers in testing in
Right.
North Carolina.
Hmm.
Because we're going to talk about just North Carolina tonight, but there's layers into that.
Hmm.
So you would then have to have money to pay for those applications and your background check, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just say starting out initially, let's
Hmm.
just use the number $1,500. Okay.
Okay.
Then there's other associations that you may have to join, and there's other things that may have to come after that.
Hmm.
So our job at ELM School of Real Estate, which you asked, is our job is to prepare you not only to pass our test, but
Hmm.
to pass the state and the national exam, and to prepare you somewhat for real life. Okay.
Okay.
What realistically what
Hmm.
real estate would look like as
Hmm.
a totality. Because a lot of people get into this and they believe, oh, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to make six figures. That's not always the case, okay? Because there's so much involved in how you
Hmm.
need. So you need to figure out, is real estate for me? Because money is the that goes in the back, okay? That's the
Hmm.
last thing you need
Hmm.
to be thinking about. It should be more so that, am I good with people?
Hmm.
Okay. How do I handle adversity? How do I handle opposition? Those
Okay.
are things mentally and physically. Is my stamina built up enough to where I can handle five
Hmm.
to six or maybe 20 closings a month?
Hmm.
Can I work with that many people at one time? So
Hmm.
there's things that go into that. And so at ELM School of Real Estate, we talk about those things at the latter end. Our
Okay.
students come back and we have little Q&As. We follow up and see how they're doing in real estate, and we ask them
Hmm.
questions and we ask them if they need help. So that's what sets us apart from a lot
Okay.
of other people, because we believe that you invest in us, we're going
Mhm.
to invest in you. But the key thing is you have to want it as much as we want to give
Right.
it.
That exactly, because sometimes people talk a good game and then they get there and it's everything flip flops over and you're sitting there like, okay, so what is going on?
Correct.
And being able to have those uncomfortable conversations with people who are entered into your school and everything. And sometimes you don't want to have those conversations, I know,
Correct.
but
And
we
we
gotta
don't, and the other part to that is that we don't accept everyone into our school. That's the other
okay.
thing. And every school is different. Okay.
Mhm.
Every school has a questionnaire. And if anyone is interested, if anyone wants more information, you see the website there. You can also follow us anywhere on social media at ELM School of Real Estate. And my team and I will get back to you. You can inbox us, you can direct message us, but we're very selective, because people have to understand that our reputation is on the line.
That's
Okay.
right.
And we want to maintain a success rate
Hmm.
that other schools may not rate as high. And
Right.
so therefore we don't accept everyone into our school, and we may not be the fit for you as well.
Right. But that's you know what? But it's the same. Bottom line is your school is just like with college,
Correct.
and it's like we have to apply,
Yes.
and it's nothing wrong with applying, you gotta find your fit. We gotta make sure that we're all a match, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
so I get it. And so I know that you helped over 6,500 homeowners get basically obtain home ownership. Would you care to talk about any home ownership programs you may be currently providing, or courses that you have out there now for people who are looking to purchase homes?
Yes, and that's a great question because a lot of the down payment assistant programs, if you
Mhm,
so need that, which most people do need that, and even
mhm,
if you think you don't qualify, you should apply. And those are readily available, most in part in your state, in your local county. So if you call the Register of Deeds office, or if you call your council women and men that
mhm,
you've elected into office, okay, that represent you and your individual Senate, House
mhm.
seats, and your school boards. They have access to a lot of different things, like teachers in general. Teachers
Okay.
have programs, and EMS employees have
Mhm,
programs to where if you make a certain type of money, then there's some down payment assistance programs available definitely for teachers and
mhm,
EMS workers, so long as you apply. And that's family size. That's how much you make a year in
mhm,
totality in the household. But the good thing about these programs is that a lot of people are eligible, but they don't apply for them. So that money just sits there every
mhm,
year, and it goes untapped.
mhm,
So contact your local real estate agent, or you can contact me and I can refer you to someone in
mhm,
your area if I'm not licensed there.
mhm,
But we can refer you to someone that can get you into these different type of programs, because guess what? Once you get this down payment assistance, what that
mhm.
does for you is it reduces your monthly payment. And
Okay.
how many of you know I'm paying too much in rent? I'm not speaking for me, but I'm saying
Right.
in general, some people may be
Mhm,
renting and
mhm.
they're paying too much currently in rent.
Right.
So why waste your money? Get a
Mhm,
tax. Talk to a local real estate agent in your area, or even a lender. That's the
mhm,
other, is when you are connected to a
mhm,
real estate agent that knows the program and the down payment assistance, then
mhm,
we have within our peer group, we have loan officers that are approved to provide that down payment assistance, because every loan officer is not approved to provide that. So
okay.
let's talk about the different products too.
Yes.
VA loans are
Mhm,
100% financing. If you
mhm,
are a veteran, okay, and you were honorably discharged,
mhm.
you can have access to a VA loan.
Okay.
And with VA, we'll see how much you qualify for. The other
Mhm,
thing is USDA loans. These are
mhm,
rural housing loans that are for rural housing, like in the outskirts, the suburbs of your areas. And
mhm,
so that's another 100% financing program
mhm. Okay.
that is available. And these are worldwide programs. Okay,
Mhm,
the VA, USDA loans
mhm,
are worldwide that you can tap into. And
mhm,
so there's so much available to other programs, certain programs for students, certain
okay.
programs that's set for the teachers. And then we have programs for just different businesses. I'm a
Mhm,
self-employed. If you're self-employed, there is different programs for not necessarily down payment assistance, but there's
mhm.
other for you as a self-employed individual that
Okay.
you may get with just a traditional loans and different things like that.
Mhm,
So that wealth of information would definitely come from a competent real estate agent that knows the market, that knows the services that they can provide in
mhm,
their area, and they can give you the guidance to how to go through that. And then there's other properties. You may have, like in North Carolina, we have certain areas that are zoned for 100% finance. And we have certain areas that say, okay, this is the down payment assistance that we can provide for you if you decide to live in this particular zip code, or
mhm.
this particular area.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And next thing I want to dive into, because I love to hear about investing.
Yes.
Tell us about, I know you helped create over 4,500 real estate investors. Let's talk about that. Tell us more information about your investors program.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's not necessarily my program, okay?
Okay.
But I assist with anyone who wants to become an investor. So,
Mhm,
case in point, as an investor, there are properties that consistently, 24 hours a day in
mhm,
your local area, that is available for you to invest in. How do you find them? I'm just going to give you a little tidbit because I'm not going to give you all the information because then you won't need me. At any rate, okay, but you can find them at your local register of deeds office at your tax assessment office. So let me give you
Okay.
an example.
Mm-hmm.
As an If you go to the tax assessment office and someone is behind, unfortunately, on their taxes,
Mm-hmm.
you can ask them for a list
Mm-hmm.
of the houses that are currently behind on their taxes. And what
Mm-hmm.
does that mean? That means that the city of Tennessee or the state of Tennessee or the city of Gatlinburg, Tennessee is
Mm-hmm.
going to potentially foreclose on that property because they owe so many years of back taxes. Actually, if you owe over 30 days or even 1 to 2 days over taxes, that particular city can come for your home, okay? Because
Right.
we agree that we're going to pay taxes to the
Mm-hmm.
city. So at any rate, you can ask for that list. You can actually sign up and you'll get that list consistently in your email address. And so I
Mm-hmm.
help a lot of investors. They call me. They say, okay, Dr. McKnight, I'm looking for 5 houses and I want to spend $1 million. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, great. Where would you like to buy? And so when they tell me that, I go ahead and I use one of those resources, which
Mm-hmm.
is like the tax assessment office,
Yeah.
or I use other avenues, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that you can go to them, okay? You have foreclosures, you have HUD, you have different things that you can look at and
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, you want to spend $1 million, here are some of the properties. And so we go look and they decide to buy. Being an investor doesn't take a lot of money, okay? I'm going to be clear on that
Okay.
because you literally buy some of these properties from the courthouse steps. So what do I mean by that? They auction them off on the courthouse steps. And what the county is trying to do is they're just trying to relieve them. They're just trying to remove them off their books. So
Okay.
they want them off their books. So therefore
Mm-hmm.
they don't pay taxes and they
Mm-hmm.
don't consistently, kind of go after the homeowner
Mm-hmm.
for a particular home. So let me say this, they're very aggressive at wanting to get rid of those properties.
Okay.
All right. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you go up with $500. Now you need to come with a money order or a certified check.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're not going to take, no checks or no cash or anything like that, but you need to show up prepared
Right.
because everyone's there and they're bidding on that property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the hand that they're auctioning off. So that's another way to be an investor. And then
Right.
you have groups that solicit other people to join forces as an investor with them. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because they need to have so much money to be able to buy that commercial building. So you
Mm-hmm.
can join forces with them as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. That look, I know a lot of people, are interested in doing real estate investing as well as, just learning all about this. So it's, fabulous that we were able to have you on this evening to talk about all of this. And so lastly, what is your future aspirations for the Elm School of Real Estate? And how do you envision its role in shaping the next generation of real estate professionals?
Oh wow, that's so great. That's a good question. And people get me misconstrued. I'm a big teddy bear. A lot of people think like a lot of people think she's this big. I do have a type A personality, but I am so mushy, okay? Because if when I think about if my parents
Mm-hmm.
or their parents would have known that a piece of dirt could bring so much wealth. I'm saying like a piece of dirt. Dirt is so expensive right now. If you're
Mm-hmm.
watching this, I want you to comment in the chats and say dirt is expensive. We talking about dirt. And just
Mm-hmm.
if they knew to do that,
Right.
if they had access and knowledge, okay, which some do. I sell a lot of homes to people who inherited land and
Mhm.
homes because their family, obviously, someone taught them, okay? So
Right.
I say that to say that my goals, I always set the bar high. I
Mhm.
always pray about it. I always ask God, where would you have me to go? What would you have me to do? Okay.
Mhm.
And so with that prayer, I end up, in the, assisting in the White House to a whole nother level that I didn't even think, I'm like, can you go higher than the White House? I'm not sure. But then I found myself on bigger platforms and larger
Mhm.
platforms. And when people follow me on social media, they'll see those larger worldwide magazines and
Yes.
platforms and interviews that I've done. And so I believe that there is no limits. And
Mhm.
so my goal is just to create this force to
Mhm.
be reckoned, this tribe of people, because a tribe is a family. A
Yeah.
tribe takes care of one another. So I'm on this journey to say, how powerful can we make this? How big, how grandiose can this become that
Mhm.
we wealth that will go for generations beyond generations? And
Mhm.
so as young people, my kids, are in college or whichever, but
Mhm.
college is not for every child. And my
Right.
kids love real estate because they grew up in it. Okay.
Right.
So their friends want their license, and their friends want to sell real estate. And so I am here to pour into all generations, but like you said, in particular to the younger generations. We need to
Mhm.
start young. I do a
Yes.
lot of literacy classes. I
Okay.
go read books, some of my books, to the kindergartners. I've started way in kindergarten in certain schools. Yes, ma'am.
I
Okay.
I love that because you
You
can't
serious about
you
this
got
over here?
I know that's right. You can't start too early.
You can't start too early. So we
Mhm.
say to them, you get your allowance. What are you going to do with it?
Mhm.
Okay. So we do monopoly games on real estate. We do different things. And when I think back as a child, I love Monopoly. But
Right.
and that was all about buying real estate.
That's
People
all
don't
it
realize that. That's what
is.
Monopoly is. You
Everybody
talk
all we
about
think about is a board game. It's more than a board game.
you got banks, you the little figurines are houses. It's all
Mhm.
stuff. And I was doing that as a child and had no idea where I would end up. So I'm saying that with young people, this is what I teach them. And I say,
Mhm.
listen, you need to save. Don't spend it now. Okay. My
Mhm.
kids right now, especially my oldest, my second, I have two boys. So I have an older son and then a baby son. Then my daughter is the oldest. But
Okay.
my middle son, he's been saving. Listen, you need a loan. We like, listen, you need to go see him. You need a loan. Go ahead and pull out. Because every time he had money, birthday money,
Mhm.
uh, just doing odd jobs, young man or whichever. He was
Mhm.
always saving his money. So
Right.
and my kids save money as well, but he is a true saver. So now he's on a strive to where this is no joke.
Okay.
He can literally retire. Okay. This
Wow.
is how
And
this is
how
how
old is he now?
and he just turned 20. Okay.
Okay. But you know what?
So
That's
we're
good that
talking
you
about
did that.
we're talking about this money thing. I need
Mhm.
people, if you don't take away anything else tonight, do
Mhm.
understand this. You have the power to get wealth. You really do.
Right.
Don't
Mhm.
let no one tell you that it's not possible.
Right.
If you stop buying Starbucks,
Mhm.
okay,
There
you
you
stop
go.
buying Krispy Kreme, because I'm a witness. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
If you
Look, me too.
if you start doing your habits
Mhm.
that allow you to spend money, then you will see that you start saving that money. Back
Right.
in the day, my grandmother had mattress money. Anybody remember the
Mhm.
mattress?
Yes.
And they would put that money under the mattress. But I'm
Mhm.
saying that you can start right where you are. Real estate is the only vehicle. Let me be clear.
Mhm.
And you can put me to the test of this. I'm okay. I'm okay with debates. I promise you.
Mhm.
It's the only vehicle where you make money in your sleep.
I I would have
Completely.
to agree.
You can buy a house today for $50,000, and that same house, depending on the market and the demand for that
Mhm.
house in that area, could be worth 250,000 when you wake up.
Mhm.
The math is mathing, as we say. So
Exactly.
where else could you get that type of investment? I invest in stock. I invest in a lot of things. I have yet to get that type of return. Only in real estate
Mhm.
do I get that return.
Right.
So I'm saying that to you guys to say that when you know better, you do better.
Right.
When you know better, you are better.
Mhm.
Okay. And so if you take heed to what people are trying to teach you
Mhm.
and you apply it, then you will become better. It's not hard. It really isn't. And I'm telling you, there's no big juicy formula. If people looking for me to come on here and give you all this so-called smoke and mirrors, no, that ain't me. I'm gonna keep it
Mhm.
100.
Mhm.
Okay. And I got receipts. I tell people all the time, just Google me. That's all you need to do. Just Google me. Okay. And so my whole thing is that we are on the movement at
Mhm.
ELM State, and my real estate firm is ELM Realty. Okay. We
Mhm.
can send you wherever you want to be. Okay.
Yes.
And so we're a team, and we're on the
Mhm.
mission to help other people build generational wealth. And that can be whosoever wants it. If you're not interested in it, that's cool. Somebody else will be interested in it,
Mhm.
so that it's not hard to do. You just need to put away some habits, and you need
Yes.
to you may potentially need to change your circle. Okay? As parents, we
Mm.
all tell our children, watch who you hang with.
Right.
And I always use the hashtag your network. Your network is your
The
network
net worth. Mhm.
all the time. And I
Mhm.
don't hang with anyone that's not going to elevate me. If
Right.
you're not going to elevate me, I don't hang with you. And that's
Mhm.
not being braggadocious. That's just being wise. That's just being smart.
Mhm.
And that's what has gotten me to this point. Okay. And that's what has changed my life. And I've seen the impact that I have on everyone else. And so I pray that everyone really readjusts and realign yourself
Mhm.
consistently in your daily life. Because if you're not happy with where you are, and what I mean by happy, what I mean is that whatever you desire to have today, let's keep it right here. Whatever you decide to have today, if you can't go out and get it,
Mhm.
then you're not happy where you are today.
Right. I love that. I love that. And everything you said, about real estate is true, because you do make money in your sleep, and real estate is the only thing that doesn't depreciate. When you
Yes,
drive, like with a car, you drive it off the lot, it not worth anything anymore. But with a house, as long as you keep adding on, building on, doing what you need to do, it keeps earning, making more money for you once you decide to sell. So,
yes, ma'am. And
so
people, and I'm glad you brought up the car thing, because
mhm,
again, in real estate, we see people all the time. There's nothing wrong with you wanting what you want. I'm not
right.
here to say that you
Mhm,
shouldn't desire nice things, because I love
right.
nice things. I love
Oh,
blingy and flashy, and I love all of that. Okay.
right.
But guess what? There's a timing for that. There's a season for that. That
Mhm,
can't be 365 days a year that you
right.
feel as though you need to have all of this
Mhm,
stuff, as you stated, that's going to depreciate.
right.
People buy a car for 72 months, and you
Mhm,
pay, let's just use a number, $550 a month
right.
on that 72 months.
Mhm.
Dude, you could have had a home.
Yeah, really. And then, but wait a minute, we didn't even talk about people that's leasing.
Correct. And that interest rate, depending on your credit,
Mhm,
is 30%.
right.
But then you go buy a home, and the interest rates right now, don't quote me because the interest rates change every day, but we're close about 6 point something or whatever percent, maybe.
Mhm,
Okay. Depending on the
right.
product and the loan that you're using. But you can get a mortgage loan for
Mhm,
6.75 on a $250,000 home. And after 30 years, if you stay for 30 years, that house may very well be worth 550,000, depending
right.
on the price of the home.
Mhm,
And you didn't lose anything.
right.
But with a car, we know soon as you drive off the lot, depending on what kind of car it is, because I'm a car collector too. So I like nice cars. So I buy the right cars that I know. But still there is some
Mhm,
depreciation, but there are cars that depreciate more than others. So
right.
I tell people all the time, keep that car
Mhm,
until you can't drive it anymore.
right.
And then what you think you would be paying, especially if the car is paid off. If the car is paid off,
Mhm,
save that 250 or that 350 that you were paying on that car,
mhm.
put it in the savings. So therefore, when you decide to buy a home, you would have had all that money that you used to pay a car note on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm telling you, there is no, if I know it's out there, people give you this get rich quick scheme and
But this is
invest.
not getting rich. This is
No,
logic. This is fact.
thank,
It's
thank you.
logic and fact. It's not, but it's like a lot of people, they read more into things thinking people trying to, pull a scam. And it's like, no, this is reality. This is
Mhm.
where we live. This is reality.
And they think it's so far fetched, and it's
Mhm,
not. And you
mhm,
don't have to pay all this astronomical money to these trainers. And no offense to people who are doing their hustle. I'm not here
right.
to offend anyone. What I'm saying is that the same information that they got, you can go get,
Yeah.
and you could pay less for that information. but
Yeah.
do what you will to get yourself to a level to where you could have that generational wealth. But we can all say that nothing's getting any cheaper. So
Okay.
as we leave as parents, even if you're not a parent,
Mm-hmm.
as you leave this earth, whoever you leave behind, you should be wanting to leave them with something. That's all I'm saying. If that is your desire, it may not be everybody's desire, but you should be able to leave them something of value. Okay. And I'm asking you simply just buy a piece of dirt. You can buy a $5,000 lot. I guarantee you that $5,000 lot is
Mm-hmm.
going to be worth 100,000, depending on the area,
Mm-hmm.
eventually,
Right.
and that will be it transferred over to your children or your children's children, et cetera, et cetera. But I want everyone to know that it's obtainable. This is not, it's not rocket science. It's not difficult, but you got to start somewhere. Because if you spend 40 hours, hear me clear when I say this. Some of us spend 40 hours a week
Mm-hmm.
building up someone else's empire,
Mm,
more hours than that when we could be building up our own.
that's right. Dr. McKnight, you dropped so many gems and so many jewels this evening. I love it. Before we go this evening, I want you to give what is your word for 2024?
Woo, I'm so glad you asked me that because my word for 2024 was more pressure. That's what it was.
All
More pressure, more in 2024, and we got 4 quarters.
there you go.
Make it
4,
happen. So
I know
that's my
that's
word.
right.
24. You got 4 quarters to make it happen. That's not happenstance. God knew exactly what he was doing when he created the 4 seasons, when he created 4 quarters. 4 quarters equals $1. We already know that. Okay. And so more pressure and more in 2024. Get a hold of it.
I know that's right. Dr. McKnight, this was truly a pleasure having you on this evening. Thank you so much for interviewing with me this evening on what's going on with Swagger Magazine. Definitely, we definitely love to have you back on later on, and just thank you so much for coming on this evening.
I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you guys had me on tonight. I'm so glad I was available. And if anyone has questions, they can put them in the chat. And I'm sure Swag Her will get to me at some point. Or like I said,
We
follow us
sure
on
will.
social media, so this way you can see what we have up and coming, because we do offer free seminars. We offer a lot of different things for people to get engaged, okay? Because it doesn't cost you anything to share, okay? Sharing should be selfless, and that's what we're doing. So thank you so very much. You guys have a wonderful evening, and God bless you. I'm so glad that you
God
interviewed
bless you
me. You
also.
did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll definitely talk to you on the back end, because I definitely want to keep in touch.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. And we thank you again from Swagger Magazine. Everyone, if you have any questions, remember put it in the comments. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We want you to have a lovely, wonderful evening. Talk to all of you soon. God bless and good night.
Good night.